Right, so we're up to way number 31, and it's a big one. This one is Ohev es hamakom, which is to love the place. The place in Judaism means God Himself. Why do we call God the place? Because since God is infinite, God cannot be inside anything else. Instead, the world is actually inside of God. So to love the place means to connect with the source of all existence, right? And that will allow us to experience the greatest pleasure of all, which is the pleasure of a relationship with God. So how do we love God? So the Torah teaches us how in the Shema. We recite the Shema multiple times a day, right? And famously it says, "V'ahavta es Hashem alekecha," you should love Hashem your God, b'chal levavcha, with all of your heart, b'chal nafshecha, with all of your soul, b'chal ma'idecha, and all your possessions. So let's look at each of these, your heart, your soul, and your possessions, in lowest to highest order. So the first is your possessions. Number one of this, so imagine someone gave you an extravagant gift. You come home and there's a brand new Tesla sitting in your front driveway with a bow on top. And on the front seat is a letter that says all of the expenses related to the car, including electricity, are paid for the next 3 years by your benefactor, who you've never met. And it says, in appreciation for all you do, Mr. Brescher. Right? Now, wouldn't you like to meet that person? What a generous, and amazing person that person has to be. So now appreciate all that the Almighty has done for us. Right? Take your eyes, for example. You couldn't buy an eye for $1 million, and yet God gave us two of them, no strings attached, for free. Right? And they work better and more magnificently than the greatest technology ever created in the area of optics. Right? So wouldn't we like to show appreciation for that? And think of all the other gifts that we've received from Hashem that were handpicked and crafted just and uniquely for us. Why is this important? Because the more we recognize the gifts that we've been given, the more we can connect with the one who gives it to us. Now, the flip side of that is we have to serve God with those gifts, right? So once God gives us the gift, it's our job, and the gift could be monetary, the gift could be our very existence, the gift could be our talents. We have to turn around and serve Hashem with the possessions. Number two of this is b'chol nafshecha, with all of your soul. So famously, Rabbi Akiva, um, as he was being killed by the Romans, and his body was being scraped by iron combs, was laughing, and his students asked him, "Why are you laughing?" He said, "Up until now, I never really understood the whether I would be able to accomplish the great mitzvah of loving God b'chol nafshecha, with your entire soul, meaning your very life. And now I realize that I'm going to get the opportunity to do that." So obviously, most of us don't live on a level like that, but um, recognizing that God gives us life itself, and therefore our life force has to be devoted to Him, is really incredible. Now, what part of giving us life is the fact that He organizes our life. So, the fact that I went to the Catskills on a weekend and happened to bump into the girl who would end up being my life partner, my wife, right? Or the fact that He moved me to Los Angeles for what I thought were business reasons, but it ended up being the place where my son could receive the greatest treatment in the world for his illness at the time. Right? God moves us around and organizes world events to bring our lives to full fruition. By acknowledging that, again, it means that even up to the point of sacrificing our life for God, that's the level of love we should be feeling for the very life that He gives us. And the third and highest level is with all of our heart. So we learned in way number 4 in Bina Salev that when it comes to Judaism, the heart means your core, your essence, right? The heart of the city. And it also means your motivation, playing with heart, right? The thing that drives you. So we have to actually look at both aspects when it comes to serving Hashem with all of our heart. It means making godliness the center, the actual core of our essence and our being, And it means being motivated by that relationship and that criticality of that relationship. And one of the ways that we can tap into this, both the motivation and the centering ourselves on that as a core, is through experiencing awe, right? Seeing things in God's world that blow our minds and are obviously and uniquely under His capacity to create and do, are things that cause us to kind of focus in and get energy around connecting with Him. Number 4 of this is to recognize the genius of the Torah itself. So the Rambam writes that the deepest way to learn how to love God is through understanding His Torah. By appreciating the genius of Torah, we can forge a direct connection with its author, the Almighty. So creation may be God's handiwork, but the Torah is God's thoughts. So if you want to experience an artist in its truest, in his or her truest sense, you may look at the painting on the wall, and it's quite impressive, and it's emotive, and it has all these incredible characteristics to it. But then if you dive into the life and the writings of that artist, you gain a whole different level of appreciation. Well, the same is true of this world. While the awe will help center us on our relationship with God, understanding God at a deeper level through His thoughts, so to speak, which are the Torah, will bring us to a wholly transcendent level and create a much, much deeper relationship. Number 6 of this is recognize should be a desire to share with others. That an important manifestation of our love of God is to share it with others. When you find something you love, you have a great new product, you can't stop telling anyone about it, right? When you try a new restaurant and it's the greatest thing, you constantly tell people about it. So the same thing in our relationship with God. If we feel God with all of our, and love Him with all of our possessions and all of our soul and all of our heart, then we should want to share that. This is the concept behind the idea of Or Lagayim, light unto the nations, right? Why is it that we are capable of transmitting godliness to the world? It's because of that love that we feel for God. And with that love that we feel for God, we have an inborn desire to want to share that love with other people. So a couple of ideas for applied wisdom. One, list your 5 greatest blessings that God has given you that you're thankful for. 2 of applied wisdom is think of 3 ways that the Almighty has personally guided your life to where it is today.